The stars above Earth had never looked so quiet. Commander Adrian Holt stood at the viewport of the orbital fortress Vigilant Dawn, his reflection staring back at him against the black canvas of space. Below him, the planet glowed faintly blue, home, fragile, and dying. "Commander," said Lieutenant Kaine through the comms, "Fleet Readiness Report is in. All units have checked in for pre-engagement standby. The alien formation hasn't moved yet." Adrian didn't answer right away. His eyes traced the thin curve of the planet's horizon, then shifted to the distant specks beyond it. The Zytheran swarm, a race of machines and flesh blended into one, stretching across half a solar system. He took a breath. "Hold positions. No one fires until my mark. We've got one shot at this." Kaine's voice crackled again, quieter this time. "Understood, Commander. But with respect, they outnumber us 50-1. Adrian turned from the viewport. "Then we'll make every shot count." The weight of command. The Vigilant Dawn's command deck buzzed with low activity, quiet voices, data flickers, and the hum of reactors beneath the floor. Every officer there knew they might not see sunrise again. Adrian's gaze swept the room. Each face carried the same fear he buried deep inside. He had led wars before, against insurgents, pirates, and rogue AI, but this wasn't a war. It was extinction delayed. He walked toward the central holomap, a massive projection of the Earth's orbit, glowing blue for human assets and red for the swarm. The reds were like blood drops in an ocean. "Status on the planetary shield?" he asked. 81% coverage, Commander," replied the operations chief. "But we can't maintain it under sustained bombardment. 2 hours, maybe 3. Then we don't give them 3 hours." He tapped a few keys, and new data shimmered on the map. The Exodus convoy, thousands of ships carrying the last civilians off-world, crawling toward the safety of the Mars Gate. Every minute the fleet bought them mattered. Echoes of the past. In his quarters later, the silence was suffocating. He pulled open an old datapad, the last recorded message from his wife, Elena, sent before communications went dark on Earth. "Don't be a hero, Adrian. Come back to me. Promise me you'll survive this one." He'd watched that message 100 times, but every time the words hit the same, a knife behind the heart. He whispered into the empty room, "I'll keep that promise, if I can." A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. "Commander, this is Kaine again. We've intercepted alien transmissions. Looks like a scouting wing is breaking formation. Could be a probe, or a trap." Adrian stood. "Order Recon Group Delta to intercept. No open comms, full radio silence. I want eyes on those ships." "Understood." He grabbed his command jacket and walked out. Every step echoed on the steel deck like a countdown. First contact in darkness. Minutes later, the Vigilant Dawn's bridge came alive with tactical chatter. The holographic map updated with motion, a small cluster of human ships moving out, and 3 alien signals approaching. "Visual feed," Adrian ordered. The main screen shifted, showing a dark void speckled with faint silver glimmers. The alien crafts were sleek, almost insect-like, glowing with pulsing energy veins. "Range closing," said Kaine. 50 kilometers, 30, 20. Without warning, a streak of plasma lanced across space, slicing one of the human frigates in half. "Delta One is down," someone shouted. Adrian's jaw clenched. "Return fire. Now." Human railguns roared, sending tungsten slugs through the void. 2 alien crafts burst apart in blue explosions, but the third dodged, unnaturally fast, then vanished. "Where the hell did it go?" Scanning. "Wait, it's behind us. It's cloaked." The alien craft appeared again, ripping through a corvette with a beam that melted steel like butter. "Bring main cannons online." The fortress shuddered as the Vigilant Dawn fired. A massive beam erupted from its belly, cutting through the dark like a sunrise. The alien ship disintegrated into molten fragments. Silence fell again. Only the faint hum of power systems remained. Adrian exhaled. "Recover survivors. Log all sensor data. That was a cloaked assault drone. They're testing our defenses." Kaine looked at him grimly. "And we just told them exactly how strong we are." The enemy's message. Hours later, the entire fleet went to yellow alert. A transmission, alien, encrypted, pierced through every comm frequency. The bridge lights dimmed as an image projected in the air. A tall, insectoid figure, metallic wings folded behind its back, eyes burning bright like coals. When it spoke, The words were translated by the AI in a cold monotone. Human Commander Adrian Holt. You delay the inevitable. Your species is obsolete. Your sun will set, and we will inherit your worlds. The room fell silent. Adrian stepped forward, his face stone. Tell them this, he said. The last time someone tried to erase humanity, we built the stars. The AI hesitated. Commander, do you want to transmit that? Yes, he said. And make sure they know we mean it. Plans in the dark. The alien fleet began to shift. Hundreds of red blips turned slowly toward Earth. Movement confirmed, said Kaine. They're preparing for full-scale invasion. Adrian leaned over the holomap. Deploy all orbital platforms. Get the drone swarms online. And prepare the spear protocol. Kaine froze. Sir, that's a last resort. The spear will burn half of low orbit if it fails. Adrian met his gaze. If we don't use it, there won't be a low orbit left to burn. As the room scrambled to obey, he turned back to the viewport. Out there, beyond the dark horizon of the planet, humanity's fate gathered in silence. The calm before oblivion. Time stretched. On the decks below, soldiers strapped into exosuits. Technicians armed drones, reloaded railguns, whispered prayers. Even the hum of the fortress seemed slower, as if space itself was holding its breath. Adrian walked among his crew, not as a commander, but as a man among those who had chosen to die with him. One of the younger officers, Ensign Ray, stopped him. Sir, do you think they'll remember us? Adrian paused. If we do this right, they won't need to. The swarm awakens. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flooded the bridge. Contacts, hundreds of them, shouted Kaine. They're accelerating. Adrian turned toward the holomap. The red mass was moving like a living storm. Plasma signatures erupted as alien weapons powered up. All batteries, open fire. The black of space turned to chaos. Thousands of projectiles streaked outward, tracer lines crossing like threads of light. Explosions blossomed like dying stars. Alien beams tore through defense grids, melting satellite armor and ripping human fighters apart. Sector 7's gone, someone yelled. Adrian's voice cut through the panic. Focus fire on their lead carriers. Don't waste ammo on drones. He gripped the railing as the vigilant dawn shook from a near miss. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Shield integrity down to 70%. Kaine turned, desperate. Commander, the swarm's adapting to our fire patterns. Adrian narrowed his eyes. Then we change the pattern. Route power to the spear. Let's give them something to adapt to. The spear protocol. The fortress trembled as massive arrays extended from its hull, 6 enormous pylons glowing with blue light, connecting through invisible magnetic fields. Energy surged between them, growing brighter until it blinded the sensors. Power levels at 92%, shouted the engineer. Core is stable, for now. Target lock on their command cluster, Adrian ordered. We hit them right in the hive. On screen, the central alien carrier pulsed like a heart, black metal, tendrils of energy stretching out to command the swarm. Firing sequence in 3, 2, 1. The spear fired. A beam of condensed energy, white, pure, and endless, tore across the void. It hit the alien carrier dead center. For one impossible second, the universe went silent. Then, detonation. The alien carrier exploded in a ripple of light, sending shockwaves through their formation. Dozens of nearby ships were vaporized. The entire swarm seemed to shudder. Direct hit, shouted Kaine. Multiple enemy signals offline. Adrian didn't smile. He knew what came next. They'll adapt. They always do. The aftermath. Debris floated like fireflies across orbit. The battlefield shimmered with wreckage, human and alien alike. But the alien fleet didn't retreat. Instead, it split, surrounding Earth from 2 sides. They're flanking, Kaine said. Adrian straightened. Good. That means they're afraid. Afraid? Kaine blinked. They just lost 1,000 ships and kept coming. Exactly, Adrian said. Fear doesn't always make you run. Sometimes it makes you reckless. He turned to the comms officer. Patch me through to all fleets. The commander's voice. Every ship, from the smallest fighter to the great carriers of the Terran Defense Fleet, heard his voice. This is Commander Adrian Holt. You've seen what they are, and what they think of us. But I'll tell you something they'll never understand. We don't fight because we think we'll win. We fight because there's no one else left to stand." He paused, letting silence carry his words. "If you die today, you die as defenders of the last home humanity ever had. Hold the line. Make them remember us." The channel went dead, but his voice stayed in every heart. Kale looked at him quietly. "Sir, you sound like you don't plan to survive this." Adrian gave a faint smile. "Survival's optional. Victory's not." To be continued. As the second wave of the swarm approached, the vigilant dawn turned to face it, engines roaring, weapons glowing, and humanity's last commander standing at the center of the storm. Space itself seemed to tremble as the next chapter of Earth's final war began. The void burned. The debris of thousands of ships drifted across the black, glittering like shattered glass. The alien swarm pulsed beyond them, vast and endless, a storm of living metal and fury. Commander Adrian Holt stood in the center of the Vigilant Dawn's command bridge, hands clasped behind his back. His uniform was torn, his voice raw, but his gaze was unbroken. "Status report," he demanded. Kale's voice came back between static bursts. "We've lost 2 carriers, 6 frigates, and half the drone swarms. The planetary shield is down to 42%. We're holding, barely." Adrian nodded once. "Then we hold harder." He looked out the viewport, to the glow of plasma fire lighting up Earth's orbit. Entire continents shimmered with the faint reflection of explosions above them. It was beautiful, in a cruel way. He whispered under his breath, "You're watching, Elena. I know you are." The enemy regroups. "Commander," Kale said suddenly, "I'm detecting new energy signatures, dozens of them. The swarm is regrowing." Adrian turned sharply. "What do you mean, regrowing?" The operations officer pointed to the holographic feed. Alien wreckage drifted in space, and from it, tendrils of black light began to stretch outward. Fragments of destroyed ships were fusing back together, reshaping, reforming. Kale cursed. "They're reconstituting their losses using nanite replication. They're rebuilding right in front of us." Adrian clenched his jaw. "So that's how they keep coming." He turned to the engineering console. "Power up the magnetic disruptors. Full frequency sweep. If those things use nanites, we burn them at the molecular level." "Commander, that'll overload our own shielding." "I know. Do it anyway." The officer hesitated, then nodded. "Aye, sir." Moments later, deep within the fortress, massive coils began to hum, a low, thunderous vibration. The lights flickered. "Field active." The magnetic pulse surged through space, rippling across the battlefield. The alien fragments twitched, convulsed, then burst apart in silent bursts of white energy. Kale let out a shaky breath. They stopped rebuilding. Adrian exhaled. "Good. Now we start destroying." "The counterattack. All units," Adrian ordered, "form up on my signal. Target the swarm's right flank. Hit them with everything, railguns, nukes, even kinetic debris. Turn space into their grave." Across orbit, the human fleet adjusted positions. Massive battleships turned, thrusters firing in perfect sync. Then, the command came through. "Fire!" Thousands of projectiles erupted at once. The vacuum filled with glowing trails, each one a line of fire cutting through the dark. Alien ships ignited like dying stars. The swarm reeled under the coordinated barrage, losing coherence for the first time. Kale's face lit with hope. "They're breaking formation. Commander, it's working." Adrian's tone stayed calm. "Keep firing. Don't celebrate until they're gone." As the fortress's cannons roared, Adrian allowed himself one fleeting thought. Maybe, just maybe, they could win this. The message from Mars. Then, a chime. A signal on a private frequency. Kale frowned. Incoming encrypted transmission from the Mars Gate defense line. It's Admiral Reese. Adrian's old mentor. Put him through. The holographic projector flickered to life, revealing the weary face of Admiral Reese, silver-haired, scarred, and surrounded by chaos. Behind him, the red skies of Mars glowed with distant explosions. "Adrian, you stubborn bastard. You're still alive." Adrian cracked a small smile. "Barely. You holding out over there?" Reese shook his head. "Not for long. The swarm's sending a second wave through the gate." We can hold another hour at most. Adrian's heart sank. The Mars Gate was humanity's last evacuation point. If it fell, there'd be no retreat. You've got to buy us time, son, Reese said. Whatever you've got left, use it. Adrian nodded. Understood, Admiral. We'll hold the line. And Adrian, Reese paused. If it comes to it, you know what you have to do. The connection cut before Adrian could answer. Cale looked at him. What did he mean? Adrian didn't respond. His silence said enough. The sacrifice plan. Later, in the strategy chamber, Adrian stood before the Corps officers. The air was heavy, every face grim. He gestured to the holographic map. The swarm's reinforcing faster than we can kill them. If they break orbit, they'll hit Mars and the evacuation fleet in hours. We can't let that happen. So what's the plan? Cale asked quietly. Adrian keyed in new data. A bright pulse appeared deep within the fortress, the fusion core. We overload the core, he said. Turn the Vigilant Dawn into a bomb. The room froze. Cale spoke first. That'll wipe out half the swarm, but it'll take us with it. Adrian nodded. If we detonate at the right moment, the shockwave will cripple their command structure long enough for Mars to evacuate the last ships. The silence stretched. Sir, said Ensign Ray, trembling, you're talking about suicide. Adrian's voice was calm. No. I'm talking about purpose. Preparing the end. As orders went out, the ship's crew moved like ghosts, silent, focused, accepting. They knew what was coming. Cale approached Adrian on the bridge. You sure about this? There might be another way. Adrian looked out the viewport again, to the shimmering blue marble below. There's always another way, until there isn't. Cale hesitated, then saluted. Then I'll be damned if I don't die beside you, sir. Adrian gave a faint smile. You always were too loyal. The hum of the fortress deepened as energy built in the core. Red warning lights flickered across every deck. The Vigilant Dawn was becoming a star waiting to be born. The calm moment. Before the final charge, Adrian retreated to his quarters one last time. He opened Elena's message again. Her face flickered, soft and warm. Don't be a hero, Adrian. Come back to me. He smiled sadly. Sorry, love. Heroes are all that's left. He closed the device, stood, and adjusted his uniform. Then he took out a small metal pendant, the insignia of Earth Command, and pinned it to his chest. When he stepped out, Cale was waiting. Core charge at 60%, sir. Adrian nodded. Let's finish this. The final push. Bring us in close, Adrian ordered. We're taking the fight straight into their heart. Engines flared. The Vigilant Dawn surged forward, cutting through the debris field. Alien ships swarmed like hornets, firing plasma beams that seared the hull. Shields down to 30%. Divert power from the hangar bays, all to forward batteries. Cannons roared. Fighters screamed past the windows, locking on to alien interceptors. Space lit with chaos, a ballet of destruction. Target the command carrier, Adrian said. The big one. The alien mothership loomed ahead, miles wide, covered in writhing metal. Its central eye burned crimson. Cale frowned. That's suicide. Adrian's reply was steady. Only if we miss. The fortress plunged through enemy fire, cutting through smaller ships like knives through paper. 10,000 kilometers to target. 8,000. The alien carrier opened its maw, a massive energy vortex forming within. Sir, they're charging their main weapon. Adrian's voice rose. All hands, brace for impact. The alien beam fired. A blinding column of light struck the fortress. Alarm screamed, metal groaned, hull plating melted. The bridge filled with smoke. Containment breach on deck 12. Keep her steady. Adrian shouted. We're not done yet. The ship's engines roared to maximum thrust. They cut through the beam, crawling closer, inch by inch, as systems burned around them. 2,000 kilometers. 1,000. Cale turned to Adrian, eyes wet. It's been an honor, sir. Adrian put a hand on his shoulder. Let's make it count. The detonation code. Core at 97%, said engineering. On my mark, Adrian replied. He took one last look out the viewport, at Earth, glowing blue in the distance. The planet he was born to protect. Transmit this to all fleets, he said. Message code, Sol's last light. Kale nodded. Recording. This is Commander Adrian Holt of the Terran Defense Fleet. If you're hearing this, then know that we stood our ground. We fought for every breath, for every life left behind. Humanity doesn't surrender. We endure. He took a deep breath. For Earth. For Mars. For all of us. Transmission sent, Kale said quietly. Adrian turned to the console. All hands, prepare for final ignition. The light of humanity. The fortress dove straight into the alien carrier's heart. The screen filled with red and white. Adrian's hand hovered over the detonation switch. Kale whispered, "Sir, now." Adrian nodded slowly. "Now." He pressed the command. A flash consumed everything. The vigilant dawn became a newborn sun, erupting in a wave of white fire that tore across the void. The alien mothership disintegrated. The swarm's command network shattered. Every ship in orbit, human and alien, was bathed in light. On Earth, people looked up and saw the sky blaze brighter than day. For a moment, the whole planet thought a new dawn had come. The silence after fire. When the light faded, nothing moved. Only fragments drifted where the vigilant dawn once stood. The swarm's remaining ships faltered, aimless, lost without guidance. One by one, they retreated, their hive mind broken. On Mars, Admiral Reese watched the distant explosion from his command deck. Tears filled his old eyes. "You did it, Adrian," he whispered. "You mad, brave son of a gun. You actually did it." He turned to his officers. "Signal the convoys. Earth is clear. Begin evacuation to safety." The war wasn't over, but humanity had bought another dawn. Epilogue, the star called Dawn. Weeks later, at the edge of the solar system, the Mars convoy moved through the void. Children pressed their faces against the glass, looking back at the faint shimmer of light still glowing near Earth. "Mom," one of them said softly, "what's that star?" His mother smiled sadly. "That's not a star, sweetheart. That's the Vigilant Dawn, the ship that saved us all." And though the commander's body was gone, his words remained, carried across frequencies, etched into every ship's archive. "We don't fight because we think we'll win. We fight because we must." And so humanity's legend spread, whispered among stars as the story of a man who stood alone between extinction and hope. The last commander. The alien warships began descending through the atmosphere like falling stars, fiery trails ripping the heavens apart. The human fleet had fought to the very brink of annihilation, but Commander Elias Kaine refused to retreat. "All surviving ships, form up on the Resolute," his voice thundered across every open channel. Static crackled, screams of dying soldiers mixed with bursts of explosions. "We hold the line. For Earth. For every soul who can't fight beside us." Inside the command deck, lights flickered as damage reports poured in. The ship's AI, Athena, spoke calmly amid the chaos. "Commander, shields are collapsing. Reactor stability at 42%. Evacuation protocols recommended." Kaine slammed his fist against the console. "No evacuations. If we fall facing them." The bridge crew looked at him, fear, awe, and loyalty burning together. He'd become more than a leader to them. He was their last wall between existence and extinction. Outside, the alien dreadnought Varel Shah pierced the clouds, a creature of metal and malevolence spanning kilometers. Its energy lances carved human ships like paper. Kaine steadied himself and whispered, "They think humanity is broken. Let's prove them wrong." Scene 1, the broken line. The Resolute led a desperate counterattack, its railgun spitting tungsten fury into the alien's armored hull. The fleet followed, a ragged formation of scorched ships, each held together by courage and duct tape. "Target their core emitter," Kaine ordered. "If that's destroyed, their entire shield grid collapses." Lieutenant Oren, his young weapons officer, trembled but obeyed. "Locked on, sir." "Then fire." The railgun fired a single, blinding round, a golden spear of kinetic energy that tore through the void and struck true. The alien shield flickered, then died. Cheers erupted across the comms. For the first time in hours, humanity drew blood. But then, a new energy surge spiked. The Varel Shah retaliated with a pulse so violent it shattered 3 human ships instantly. The shockwave slammed into the Resolute, throwing Kaine against a bulkhead. "Reactor breach in progress." Athena warned. Containment failure in 5 minutes. Scene 2, the unthinkable choice. Smoke filled the bridge. Kaine coughed, blood trickling from his temple. Athena, options. All standard solutions exhausted, Commander. However. Athena hesitated, a rare flicker of emotion coded into her voice. There is one course remaining. A manual reactor overload. It could destroy both ships. Kaine looked up at the chaos on the display. Billions of lives hung in the balance. He knew what that meant. Manual. That means someone stays behind. Yes, Commander. Silence blanketed the bridge. Every crew member froze, understanding what he was about to do. Sir, please don't, Oren pleaded. We can find another way. There is no other way, Kaine said softly. Get the crew to the escape pods. That's an order. One by one, they saluted, eyes wet, hearts breaking. Athena's voice softened. You always knew this would be your ending, didn't you? Kaine smiled faintly. If this buys them one more sunrise, then yes. Scene 3, humanity's final strike. As the pods launched into space, Kaine walked alone through the burning corridors toward the core chamber. Sparks showered him like rain. The air reeked of ozone and fire. He placed his hand on the reactor's manual override panel. Athena, transfer all remaining energy to the core. Acknowledged. Goodbye, Commander. No, not goodbye. Just, see you on the other side. He activated the sequence. The reactor flared, and a shockwave of light expanded outward, engulfing the Varel Shah, tearing its hull apart atom by atom. From orbit, survivors watched the explosion bloom like a new star. The alien flagship disintegrated. The remaining enemy vessels, leaderless and damaged, retreated into the void. Earth was safe. For now. Scene 4, the legend begins. Days later, humanity held a ceremony over the Pacific skyport. The remaining captains stood beneath a rising dawn, gazing at a holographic statue of Commander Elias Kaine, armor scorched, gaze eternal. A message replayed, his last broadcast to the fleet. If you're hearing this, it means I'm gone. But remember this, humanity doesn't win because we're the strongest. We win because we endure. Because even when the universe turns against us, we fight back. The crowd stood silent, hearts heavy. Then, from the youngest cadet came a whisper. For Kaine. And the rest joined in, voices rising like thunder. For Kaine. The cry echoed across the rebuilt stations, across the skies of a recovering Earth. Somewhere, deep in space, sensors detected a faint anomaly, a transmission buried in the wreckage of the Resolute. It was a heartbeat. Weak, but human. Scene 5, Epilogue, the signal. Months later, a deep space probe picked up a repeating signal, coordinates in the outer rim. The message read, "This is Commander Kaine, mission incomplete. Humanity is not alone." Fleet Command stared at the transmission, disbelief and hope colliding. "Prepare a new expedition," the Admiral said quietly. "If Kaine's alive, we bring him home." And thus, the legend continued, the man who refused to die, the human who defied extinction itself. The story of Elias Kaine, the last commander of Earth's first interstellar war, became the rallying cry of a new age. An age of humanity's ascension. An age where the stars would remember. We were here.